Commander Zethkar adjusted his atmospheric analyzer for the third time, its readings still making no sense. The crimson waves of what the humans called Kepler 442b's Sunset Beach lapped against shores of crystalline sand that registered lethal radiation levels, enough to kill most known species within minutes. Yet there they were, 17 humans in their primitive radiation suits playing what appeared to be volleyball. "Sir," his subordinate Vexry whispered through the comm, "the readings are confirmed. That beach is emitting 847 roentgens per hour. Even our shielded reconnaissance craft wouldn't survive more than 30 minutes in that environment." Zethkar watched through his scope as one human, a female by their species, standards dove dramatically to return the glowing orb they were using as a ball. Her radiation suit, patched with what looked like decorative tape, stretched as she hit the sand. She stood up, brushing off radioactive particles like they were mere grains, and laughed. The sound carried across the toxic air, impossibly joyful. "They've been there for 6 standard hours," Vexry continued, his voice tight with disbelief. "Our intelligence suggested humans were resilient, but this..." The Galactic Coalition had been tracking humanity since their first faster-than-light experiments 3 cycles ago. Initial reports painted them as a curious species, inventive, stubborn, with an unusual tendency to explore dangerous environments. But this was beyond anything in their files. Zethkar had seen species adapt to harsh worlds. The crystalline Silthak thrived in methane storms. The ethereal Nosine could survive in hard vacuum. But voluntarily choosing to vacation in a radiation zone that would liquefy most organic matter? That was distinctly human. "Look at their equipment," Zethkar murmured, zooming his scope tighter. The radiation suits were clearly cobbled together, military surplus mixed with civilian gear, sealed with some kind of polymer compound that glowed faintly under the radioactive bombardment. One human had attached what appeared to be a small cooling unit to his back, jury-rigged with tubes that circulated coolant through his suit. Another had modified her helmet with what looked like an entertainment display, watching something while she sunbathed on a chair made of radiation-resistant composite materials. "Sir?" Vexry's voice cracked slightly. "One of them is barbecuing." Indeed, a human male had set up what could only be described as a cooking apparatus. Smoke rose from a metal container where he was preparing food, using the ambient radiation as a heat source. The smell, somehow appealing despite the toxic environment, drifted on the irradiated wind. "The Coalition needs to see this," Zethkar said, beginning to record. "Priority Alpha transmission to High Command." As if sensing they were being watched, one of the humans looked directly at their concealed observation post. She raised a gloved hand and waved, the gesture unmistakably friendly. Then she held up what appeared to be a beverage container in a universal gesture of invitation. "They know we're here," Vexry gasped. "Of course they do," Zethkar replied, understanding beginning to dawn. "Look at their positioning. They're not just randomly scattered. They've set up a perimeter, that volleyball net. It's placed to give them clear sight lines to 3 possible approach vectors. The barbecue station, perfect cover for advanced sensors. They're not just vacationing, they're demonstrating." The human female who had waved began walking toward them, her radiation suit's mobility systems whirring softly. She moved with casual confidence across terrain that should have been instantly lethal. "Should we retreat, sir?" Vexry asked. "No," Zethkar decided. "If they wanted us dead, we would be already. This is diplomacy. Uniquely human diplomacy." The woman stopped at what was probably the maximum safe distance for communication and activated what was clearly a universal translator. Her voice emerged, tinged with amusement. "Y'all planning to stay hidden all day, or would you like some of Jake's cosmic burgers? He's been perfecting the radiation-grilled technique all morning." Zethkar exchanged glances with his subordinate, then activated their own translator. "We are representatives of the Galactic Coalition." "We were observing." "Well, sure," the human replied. "We figured someone would come check us out eventually. This whole system's been buzzing with scout ships for months. I'm Captain Sarah Chen, formerly of the Earth Colonial Marines, currently on vacation. Want to join us? Fair warning, though. You'll need better radiation shielding than what you've got. This environment should be lethal to your species," Vexry blurted out. Sarah's laugh crackled through the translator. "Honey, we're from Earth. You know what we call this level of radiation back home? A Tuesday in old Chernobyl. We've been dealing with way worse for centuries." She gestured toward the beach where her companions continued their games, seemingly oblivious to the cosmic death rays washing over them. Besides, Jake there is from Mars Colony 7, grew up in the radiation fields. Maria's from Europa Station, spent her childhood in environments that would make your worst nightmares seem like a spa day. And don't get me started on what Tom survived during the Proxima Centauri mining operation. Zethkar felt a chill that had nothing to do with his environmental suit's cooling systems. These weren't just humans. They were humans who had already conquered the worst environments their own species had encountered, treating lethal radiation as a minor inconvenience. Your coalition's been asking around about humanity, right? Sarah continued conversationally. Wondering if we're expansion-minded? If we're a threat? She gestured to her companions. Well, here's your answer. We don't want to conquer your worlds. Why would we? They're not dangerous enough to be interesting. She paused, and Zethkar could almost hear her grinning inside her helmet. But if you ever need someone to vacation somewhere that everyone else considers uninhabitable, give us a call. We'll bring the barbecue equipment. As if to punctuate her point, another human's voice carried across the radioactive beach. Sarah, Jake says the burgers are ready. And tell your new friends they're welcome to stay. First round's on us. Zethkar looked at the readings on his scanner one more time, then at the humans playing volleyball in an environment that should have reduced them to constituent atoms. He began composing his report to High Command, trying to find words for what he was witnessing. A species so fundamentally unhinged that they had turned a lethal radiation zone into a tourist destination. The galaxy, he realized, was about to become a much more interesting place.